4 new ways to get lean for summer. That's what we're talking about today because you probably have heard it all about calorie deficits and strength training and walking, and all those are super important. That's the foundation. The big five foundation is getting your strength workouts in, getting your sleep, getting your walks, getting your water intake, and then obviously accounting for nutrition with sufficient calories and protein. But today we're going a little different. We're showing you some strategies that are going to make a big enough difference that they're worth pursuing and make fat loss more, well, we'll call it easier because it adds to your ultimate results. So first up is incline walking with a weighted vest. Okay, what does the weighted vest do? Well, the science shows walking with a vest increases calorie burn by up to 60%, more than just walking on a flat surface with your own body weight. Due to increased muscle activation, it's like carrying a toddler around. Adding a weighted vest just increases oxygen consumption and calorie burn. So that extra 15% makes that walk 10 to 15% better. You may have heard of rucking, which is more like hiking with a weighted vest. You can emulate that on a treadmill with an incline, but you can just go outside too and walk with the vest on. You'll get better results than trying to do, jogging, killing your knees, and so on. All right. Number 2 is what is called modified protein-only fasts. So this is not a pure fast where you starve yourself. You're just replacing, most of the carbs and fat calories with purely lean protein. Okay, so you got your whey protein shakes, egg whites, chicken, fish. Like, try to get protein sources that are fairly low in fat, and then you're skipping the carbs for that one day. Bone broth might be a good addition just to keep yourself hydrated. It has a bit of protein in it as well. So you're not like fasting by the book, but you're getting a low calorie day once a week or once every couple weeks. That's going to help with fat loss without compromising your mood, your energy levels, your workout performance, and obviously muscle preservation. Right? So the science of this is it kind of preserves muscle while forcing the body to burn fat. There was research done in 2017. We all know the impact of high protein diets, and it's going to keep hunger a little bit lower than a typical fasting day would. Okay, so win-win-win. Now, lastly is what we call anaerobic abs. Oh, actually, there's one more after this, so stick around. Anaerobic abs, which is a finisher at the end of your workouts. 5-10 minutes. It does elevate that excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, right? EPOC, you may have heard of that. You're just burning a bit more calories over the course of the day. Does it make a huge difference in that regard? No. But what I find is when you do this workout, you feel validated. You get a lot of effort into a short amount of time. So you're just getting more efficient with your workouts, right? So fat mobilizing hormones get released. It's not a huge needle mover, but it helps with VO2 max, and it does help with fat loss. Absolutely. All right. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. The last one is your peptides and weight loss meds. You probably heard of Ozempic, but there's other peptides out there for various things, whether it's fat loss you're after, or much better recovery, or your joint pain, or you're trying to recover from injury, et cetera, et cetera. So the verdict is still very much out on these, but the ones that are pretty tried and tested are the GLP-1s. Okay, so that's the Ozempics of the world. Wegovy, Mounjaro, there's different names for them, but basically all they do is slow down digestion, which suppresses appetite, helps you better regulate blood sugar. They're not necessarily for everyone, and you need to be careful with how you use these. Studies have shown that they lead to pretty comparable weight loss to someone who really dials in with our program, like 15% body weight over a year or so. Not bad, right? These are for people who aren't working out regularly. I think tirzepatide showed a 20% weight loss. So the catch is when people stop taking these meds, they regain all the weight. And most people aren't on these long term. I don't know why, but in the research, most people discontinue, whether it's side effects or the fact that you have to stick a needle in yourself once a week. There's no replacement for good habits, but this could be a helpful tool for the right person. You just have to watch the muscle loss and bone loss, frankly. If you're not strength training, you're not eating enough protein, and it's hard to eat enough protein when you're feeling so full all the time, then as much as 40% of the weight lost on these meds is muscle and bone. which doesn't put you in a whole lot better spot. Unless you're morbidly obese and you've tried it all and nothing works, I would say caution against using these tools just yet. Okay. There are peptides for other reasons, though. There are peptides that help with building muscle. You'll have to look these up. CJC 1295, epimorelin, I believe. They're GH releasing peptides. Okay, so like growth hormone, I'm sure you've heard of. It's more natural than synthetic growth hormone. It just kind of mimics how your body releases it. You're just optimizing. Okay. And then there's tesofensine, which is similar results in weight loss to the GLP-1s. It basically just suppresses appetite. What people find is sometimes there's a bit of a stimulant effect to it and they have trouble sleeping. So caution against that if you battle insomnia at all. That's why it's a non-starter for me. Okay, so these things are widely available. They're not FDA approved. I would certainly source carefully. There's lots of fake stuff online. There's lots of fly-by-night operations here. But I'm a big proponent of science when it makes sense. And sometimes, in the case of these peptides, they might be that missing link, between bridging the gap between doing what you need to do consistently and not doing it at all. There's even some for repairing injuries and joint pain. I don't have those listed here. BBC is 195, I believe. So I'm not an expert in that area. But hopefully this helps. What's the takeaway? It's like meds like Ozempic can help, but only for strength training to prevent muscle loss. So all that foundational stuff I said off the top still is important. If you don't know where to start with your nutrition, comment the word calculator below, mitchcalvert.com calculator. It's in the description. That'll actually set you up with your nutrition targets, which is really the foundation. 80% of the game is getting your calories and protein in check, and then everything else builds onto that foundation. All right. So dial in your protein, train smart, and then use these tools. They're not crutches, but they certainly can help.